The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.
Spinal adjustments provided by Dr. Chad Rolfson. The Spinal Tuning Chiropractic Center is a Des Moines area low flat fee per month unlimited chiropractic care practice. When life happens, just adjust. Schedule today at spinaltuning.com. Barbecue provided by Kenny's Rib Wagon. Catering ribs for your pleasure and serving daily at Plaza Pub, 62nd and Douglas in Des Moines across from Merle Hay Mall. Find Kenny's Rib Wagon on Facebook. Welcome to the Gospel Road. We're going to look at Psalm 143 today. It says, "Hear my prayer, O Lord. Give ear to my pleas for mercy. In your faithfulness, answer me in your righteousness. Enter not into judgment with your servant, for no one living is righteous before you. For the enemy has pursued my soul. He has crushed my life to the ground. He has made me sit in darkness like those long dead. Therefore my spirits faint within me. My heart within me is appalled. I remember the days of old. I meditate on all that you have done. I ponder the work of your hands. I stretch out my hands to you. My soul thirsts for you like a parched land. Selah. Answer me quickly, O Lord. My spirit fails. Hide not your face from me, lest I be like those who go down to the pit. Let me hear in the morning of your steadfast love, for in you I trust. Make me know the way I should go, for that you I lift up my soul. Deliver me from my enemies, O Lord. I have fled to you for refuge. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. Let your good spirit lead me on level ground. For your name's sake, O Lord, preserve my life. In your righteousness, bring my soul out of trouble. And in your steadfast love, you will cut off my enemies, and you will destroy all the adversaries of my soul, for I am your servant." Psalm 143. David's pleas of mercy. You know, we all have heard the story of David. Well, many of us, maybe not all. But it starts, he defeats Goliath. He becomes king, and he takes Bathsheba. He then ends up with enemies and on the run. We all make decisions in our life. And with those decisions, consequences happen. In fact, many times we professionally, you lose a relationship due to an activity. Something that you've done. You lose a job because of lack of judgment. Sometimes it's not even what we're doing, it's even just what's happening around us. I mean, right now, I know I am in a very strange situation. I mean, in a time where people seem to constantly quarrel. It's hard to have regular conversations because everybody is kind of taking their side. And when I'm saying taking their side, I mean taking their side. We have been dealing with this pandemic for almost a year. People are frustrated. We've been dealing with political unrest for many years. People are frustrated. We just come off an election and the one guy's out, the new guy's in, and people are frustrated. I mean, we are to the point that we cannot even have conversations with one another. People are not able to agree with one another. I mean, we've talked about this before. It's finding that commonality so you can have a conversation, and we are at a point where we're not even able to have those conversations anymore. I was talking with a friend yesterday, and I said, I'm to a point that I'm not sure about how I could even talk to people anymore. I mean, I've been frustrated and fed up with people for a long time, I'll be honest. But it's not getting better. I was having a conversation with somebody else the other day, and of course, new president is in, and of course, now they're making their stand. Well, he got it illegally. He got it wrong. I'm not going to call him president. He's not my president. I'm like, wait a minute. For the last 4 years, you were complaining when the other side was saying the same thing. I'm not going to call him president. Well, he's the president. He's in the position. Right, wrong, or indifferent, he's in that position. Now, were there a lot of hinky things that went on? I think so. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be right. Now, I think this is where we all have that conversation of how we need to start holding people accountable. Just like we expect us to be held accountable. You're at work, you're held accountable for something that you do wrong. You hold yourself accountable because of a mistake that you made. It might not have been a big one, but you realize that you did it. You hold yourself accountable. Who is going to be holding them accountable for what is happening or what is going on? Well, that's a very good question. And it seems that nobody wants to do that. There is no one to say, wait a minute. Enough questions are being brought up. Maybe this needs to be investigated. Now, it could come out that everything is fine. It could come out we could find other things. But this isn't the only time. Look through history that we've seen different things like this. And as a government for the people, by the people, which is interesting. I'm talking government here. That's normally not the conversation that we have in this. But we need to stand up. We need to say, hang on. Hang on. What's happening here? Things just do not seem right. But I'm not sure that we want to do that. I think we want to sit there and complain and throw a fit, but leave it the way it is and not have a conversation. We don't want change. Oh, just let it go back. Just let it be. I mean, look at our own lives. How many of us really do not like change? And when change happens, we don't deal with it very well. Change at work, we don't deal with that very well. Change at home, we don't deal with that very well. I'll be honest, I don't always deal with change very well myself. Even though I've been in a career of change my entire life. Doesn't mean it's easier. But what we do need to realize is that we have to look at ourselves. We have to worry about us. Me. Am I doing everything that I can do? How am I treating those that are around me? How am I being to those that hate me, my enemies? Am I loving them? Am I treating them with respect? Showing them God's love? God says, love your enemies. Oh, how hard is that? Being aware of what's happening around you and being smart about it. And not taking this whole my way or the highway attitude. Again, even if a person is not thinking the way you do, we should still take care of them and help them, love them. Is it easy? No. By any means, no. But through David's life, all these things were happening, and even for us, things are happening in our lives, and we have to figure out how we're going to deal with that. Sometimes we deal with it well, sometimes not so much. Sometimes I deal with it well, sometimes not so much. But all I know is I'm getting really frustrated with how things are happening and how people are talking and treating one another. Now, I'm trying to do my best because, see, I can only control me. I'm trying to do my best to be my best. See, you can only control you, so you need to do your best to be your best. Hopefully, through that, people are encouraged and motivated and inspired to be their best. And, sometimes I say it's changing one person at a time. But I think we are so focused. And sometimes I'm not even sure it's the majority that's focused. It's the minority that's focused and the minority that screams the loudest. And that's what we hear. And that's what we get frustrated about. While the silent majority on either side, they just sit there and be quiet. Or they don't get their 15 minutes of news time because, they're just not making up a big enough stink. Or it's not something that drives ratings. Or it's not something that stirs up anger in people. See, sometimes I'm wondering if they just want us to be constantly torqued off at one another. I really want to know. I'm curious. Because the way they act and how they push things through. So you just want us to be at a constant state of pissy with one another. Not get along, stomp, take my ball, gonna go home. You're gonna be a little kindergartner. I think that's what they want us to act and how they want us to react. Because that continues to create issues between one another. Because why in the world should we get along? Because that's just not a good answer. Because if we get along, well, we might get along. We might not need some of the garbage that we're getting. Because we might find that we could actually get along and take care of ourselves. That's a concept. Psalms 143 is what I read today. Kind of went off on some little tangent. But as I always say, read that. And what does it say to you? How does it speak to you? How can you apply that to your life? What's in there to help you be better tomorrow than you are today? If you enjoyed this podcast, well, thank you very much for listening. Share it on social media. In fact, you can follow me on social media, both Facebook and Twitter, at My Buddy Jimmy. And you can even find me on YouTube at My Buddy Jimmy 101, and even find all my other podcasts that I have as well. But think about that. What is it that you're doing to be your best? But really, what are you doing to treat others the best you can treat them? David went through so much time and went through so much trouble. A lot of it brought on to himself, which that's the way it happens to many of us. We bring our issues onto ourselves. It's because of something that I did. So now I have to face my consequences. Priorities. Being aware. These are important things of how we live our lives and how we deal with those around us. Thank you for listening to The Gospel Road. Have a great day. God bless.
The Jimmy Olsen Radio Network.